When should someone who is starting up follow this kind of funding?
Best timing is when you don't need the money. You need to have a financing process which is supporting the business development.
It's a very realistic approach.
I think it has to be. Right now the rules are different than they were a year ago. Yeah. I don't know if it makes any sense, but I would introduce myself as a business advisor, startup mentor, and finance specialist. It's not just one shot, it's a long run. You can finance everything with private equity, but that's expensive money.
It's a different mindset.
So know your numbers by heart all the time. There are 5 questions that you should ask from yourself, and if you can answer those, then you are in the kind of a brink of an excellent pitch. It's a dangerous game when you are trying to...
Arto Branders, it's a pleasure to have you here with me today.
Thank you, Tarek. Nice to meet you again.
Likewise. What would you say is the number one quality you look for when somebody is looking for funding?
I would look at the idea, but I would also look at the kind of funding, what they have done so far, what they know about funding. Have they received any funding? How did it go? And what is their current state of business?
What is one thing founders should stop doing when seeking investments?
Thinking too much about valuation. I think it's a dangerous game when you are trying to overvaluate your business. There are all kind of ways of finding the valuation, and within our processes we are going through some of them. But it's a constantly changing game, and right now the rules are different than they were a year ago. So don't start with this valuation thinking. Start by figuring out what you want to be and how much money you are gonna need of being that thing. And then when you know the amount of funds that you need to raise your business in this position that you want it to be, then we can start thinking about what could be a valuation and how to get that money.
It's a very realistic approach.
I think it has to be.
What would be some of the common mistakes that those entrepreneurs could possibly do when they're going through that process of funding?
I think the lack of horizon is one of the biggest ones. The one thing that we especially teach in investment readiness process is that it is a process where you combine your business development process and your financing process. You need to have a financing process which is supporting the business development, and it's not just that you're thinking about the next finance that you need, but you need to take a longer term perspective on financing and figure out how you finance your business over the years, utilizing different financing methods. So it's not just that you focus on one private investor and how to deal with them, but you can think about how you combine the investment with public funding instruments or bank loans, debt equity, debt financing, and different ways of financing. It's not just one shot. It's a long run. The longer you can estimate and the longer you can plan, the better it is for your finance.
And you mentioned something very interesting about like blending both public funding and private investors. Now, how important is that? Because most people are like, they're thinking, okay, there's a lot of funds out there. Maybe that's enough. Why do I need to start thinking about company valuation and selling some equity? What would you tell them?
I would say that public funding is typically, those are either loans or grants. And grants are always, you need to put some own money with it if you are applying for a grant. That's not 100% money. So it's a quite common way actually to have some private funds or a bank loan and then utilize that to access some public grants. And naturally, you can finance everything in certain occasions with a certain business. You can finance everything with private equity, but that's expensive money. Then you need to dilute your ownership of the company. And by utilizing other methods in parallel, you can still maintain your shares and try to be in control with the company and grow it with your own perspective. That's why I believe that quite many are still utilizing all kind of other funding methods, and despite all the private investors, all the venture capitals, business angels, it's a scarce money. It's not easy to get. So you need to have a very, very good business to be able to get such money within good terms.
Yeah, that's the real challenge sometimes. However, it seems like with such a process, you are quite systematic. And when do you reach this kind of funding, and when do you want to have this expensive money that you can have? But maybe I want to ask you more about the timing. When should someone who is starting up follow this kind of funding or that kind of funding?
Yeah. Best timing is when you don't need the money. So you should think about financing when you are not in a hurry, when you are not in a rush to finance your business. When everything is going smoothly, then prepare. Then think about the future finance and funding and everything like that. And it's always good time to talk with investors, talk with public financiers, talk with business agents and advisors of a bank. I think every conversation on both ways increases knowledge. So you are learning, the other side is learning, and you're building your network. You're building your long list of investors. You are familiarizing yourself with the different instruments of public funding and negotiating with banks. The easier it is to really start raising money when people know each other, when they already know you and know your business and know your capabilities and have been following you for some time, then you are in a better position. So my advice is that timing is always good, except when you are in a deep shit. That's bad time.
You remind me of of something my father used to tell me: never go grocery shopping when you're hungry.
Exactly.
It's like you do the worst decisions. You buy anything and everything, and any chips is good enough.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, most likely. But this is a beautiful piece of advice. Like the best time to seek money is when you don't need it.
Exactly.
You're making even those connections more than I need the money now. More like, hey, I want to get to know you, and this is my vision to this idea. And what do you think? Would you like to partner with me or not? I mean, at least saying no is completely fine at this point.
Yeah, and then negotiation takes time. If you're negotiating with private investors, that takes time. If you are applying for a grant or a loan, it takes time. There are certain finance institutions which are fast, but then the interest may be quite high. But typically it always takes time. So don't be desperate when you are in those negotiations.
It's super valuable.
Every great innovation starts with a eureka moment, but turning that spark into something real takes much more. That's why we help build From Ideas to Innovations, a course for people who want to do something with their spark. It breaks down exactly what stands between an idea and reality, the IP, the funding, the right people, the market fit. And through the series, you'll hear the stories behind those innovations, real conversations brought to life with the support of our partners, Varha, the University of Turku, and Åbo Academy University. Subscribe to our series and check out the course link in the description below. And now, let's get back to today's guest.
Can you tell me a bit about the time? So how long does it usually take, for example, for an investment to actually take place? And then we can compare it with funding also. So how long does this take, and how long does this take? Kind of on average?
Yeah, I think there are all kind of stories. The fastest pace that I've heard that someone has gotten some private equity funding, it's been for maybe 1 to 2 months, but typically it takes more than half a year. I would say from half a year to a year, you can be prepared to negotiate with it. Public grants, public loans, when you are dealing with ely-keskus or Business Finland, I would say that few months typically. They have these periods, application periods, when within this certain period you can apply, and then they start making the decisions, and they release the grant. Some grants are for constant application, but some have these periods. But easily it takes maybe 1 to 3 months to get that process gone through, and then you don't necessarily get the money right away. You may have some front payment, and then the remaining according to your costs and reporting. Nothing too soon, I would say. It's everything takes time.
Everything does take time. They say, hyvää kannattaa odottaa.
Yeah, maybe so. And in this case, I would say that if you are not experienced, the worst deal you may end up with. So take time, utilize expertise, use consultants, use public business development organizations like Business Turku to figure out what kind of deal you are actually making.
This is super valuable piece of advice. You're telling them this is how you can navigate these complexities. Take your time, which is so counterintuitive. If somebody has a nice idea, they want to get it out there in the world, and then there's this juxtaposition that you need to take things a little bit slower and understand. If I would give you 30 seconds to give a pitch to somebody who just started and is facing all those complexities, what would you tell them to give them sort of like an advice to be able to navigate it well?
There are 5 questions that you should ask from yourself. Put yourself into the shoes of an investor and ask yourself, how much money will this venture need now and over time? Where are they going to use this money, and how will it create value? And then when will I get my money back, and how will that happen? What will be the payoff? So how many times I will get my money back, and what are the risks related? Ask yourself those 5 questions, and if you can answer those, then you are in the kind of a brink of an excellent pitch. How to put this in 2 to 3 slides in the end of your pitch, and then you are making them to understand what's in it for them. And then final piece of advice, know your numbers. You will be asked about your revenue, your profit, your market share, yield, customer acquisition cost. Those will all be in your investor pitch. But you should also be able to answer those when they are asked. So know your numbers by heart all the time. That makes the credibility when you are discussing with investors and other financiers.
This is golden advice. Like you said, that makes the credibility, and the fact that you're stepping into their shoes tells them so much about you. Tells them that you're a person who's willing to see the financial side of things, who's willing to understand what they're offering, when are they going to have a return for their investment. It's almost very empathetic approach to an investor.
And since you have only this 30 seconds or a minute, if you are able to tell them the story that they want to hear, what's in this for them, then you may be able to continue. You may able to have your 5 minutes and 10 minutes and maybe a 30-minute meeting with them.
That is true. It's never like, hey, I'm gonna tell you everything about my idea in those like half an hour before getting those little buy-ins. Like, let's start with 30 seconds. If they're interested, give them 2 minutes more. If they're interested, give them a bit more.
Yeah. So if you spend your 30 seconds with your brilliant technology, I think it has to be truly brilliant if somebody will catch it and start asking more.
That is true. Thank you so much, Arto. This has been very, very valuable. And I'm really interested for our audience to know a bit about your story.
Uh, I would say that I'm a curious mind. I've always been interested in understanding how things work, how equipment work, how people work, how mind works, how economy works, how universe works. So I studied physics and approached this that way, and then I worked for 20 plus years in different technology companies, small and big ones, startups and corporations, and then landed into a Business Turku as a startup coach, and that's where I am right now.
That's beautiful. And it's really a bit surprising to know that you have this interest in understanding how things work, becoming even a physicist, and then getting into the business world.
Yeah, actually, when working at one of the startups, that was a deep tech company, a spin-off from the university, and I was developing technology, creating those projects, and communicating with customers and selling this deep tech globally, and that's how I kind of combined this interest in technology, but also the sales of this kind of difficult things. And that's when I realized that actually there's a lot to do with this selling deep tech and acquiring funding for that.
Surely, surely. And it only makes me think deeply about this. What makes Arto the person he is today? The curious mind. What makes you the Arto that you are today?
Ah, I don't know. Maybe it started already in the childhood. Reading those science fiction stories and watching movies and things like that. It's but luckily I found a way to learn about it and then to utilize it in my daily based work. So.
Thank you for sharing this about the childhood and the science fiction. I once heard somebody say science fiction is not like fairy tales, but it's more like what is possible. It's about possibilities, opening your mind to what could be possible.
Yeah, I think it's both.
It's both.
Yeah, and there are so many good stories which have never happened and will never happen, but that's science fiction.
At least sometimes we hope it doesn't, if
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
too dystopian. Now, if I meet you in a conference, how would you introduce yourself?
I would introduce myself as a business advisor, startup mentor, and finance specialist, helping companies to grow. That would be probably my short speech.
And what exactly do you do then at your role in Business Turku?
There are some projects where I'm involved and I'm running those. That's like the administration part. Not so keen on that, but it's a necessity. But I'm meeting customers on a daily basis. You can book a meeting with me from our webpage and discuss with me about finance related issues and also issues related to internationalization and growing your business, but mainly finance.
Mainly finance.
Yeah.
And how does Business Turku assist entrepreneurs in finding funding or getting resources?
Yeah, I would say that we mentor, we advise, we organize things, we combine people, and then we have certain processes that we utilize. As I already mentioned, you can book me a meeting and I will have a one-to-one session with a customer talking about their situation, their financial needs and further plans. Then we are facilitating all kind of events where we network public funding organizations and people with business people and customers. We also follow all kind of funding instruments that are available and inform our customers about those. We try to keep on track on EU-related funding instruments, projects, cascade funding and such. And then the private side, we discuss with private investors, we organize matchmaking events, we trade pitching for our customers, participate in some accelerator programs, and then we have a very dedicated process called the investment readiness process, which is a kind of a very holistic way of teaching businesses to be more prepared for funding.
Can you tell me a bit more about that?
When I studied in Business Turku, I studied as a startup mentor and one of the things that we wanted to do is to create this kind of a program for local businesses here in Turku, startups mainly, and there's a consultancy company in Sweden called the Beals Consulting, and they had been building this kind of a process based on their own expertise. So we contacted them and we implemented this process also here in Finland. It is a kind of a 5 to 6 week training program.
Mhm.
We have certified coaches. I'm one of them. We have a web-based tool. Companies, they are seeking answers for certain investor related questions that they should know and be prepared to present, and they will actually create a pitch, an investor pitch, which is answering to those questions.
If we'll talk about the region,
Mhm.
how would you describe the scene in Turku, for the startup scene in Turku, in 3 words?
Startup scene in Turku, it's scattered, it's vivid. I think due to the good work that is been doing here in universities. We are such a big university city here, so there are lots of ideas and early stage. I wouldn't necessarily call them startups, but some are startups, some are just early stage initiatives which are emerging from the universities and schools here in Turku. And then I would say that the third word would be weeding. How to put it in English? The atmosphere is kind. Everybody is waiting something to happen. Something to be organized here in Turku. Some facilities, some funding, something to happen here. That's how I feel it right now.
Scattered, vivid, and waiting.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes any sense, but
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's a nice perspective. I would have never guessed these are the 3 words we're gonna say. It's a very nice perspective, especially from somebody who is in the scene.
Mm.
So you see it very, very closely. Now, what would you say is your go-to resource for staying updated in the startup ecosystem? If somebody was to be, I think maybe it's mostly like for the audience. Where would they go to be updated about the ecosystem,
okay. Yeah.
the startup ecosystem?
I would say that there are probably two main places where you should be right now, and talk to right now. One is to come knocking to the Business Turku door. Maybe not physically. You can reach us in many ways, but no matter how you reach us, we will start talking to you and finding solutions to you. The other one is Boost Turku, and that is the local entrepreneurial society of the university students, and they are very active and doing very well with startups right now. So no matter which you contact, you will probably be met with our people.
Now, what would you say is what's a common assumption about Business Turku that is actually false?
That we only serve large companies in Turku, like the shipyard or medical factories, medicine factories. I think this is an old assumption. Maybe not so valid anymore. But definitely we serve everyone. If you have a business, then everyone is welcome.
Thank you for sharing that, because your name, Business Turku, makes it sound too serious.
Okay.
So people
What should it be?
No, it could be your Business Turku.
All right.
No, or my Business Turku. I don't know. I'm just making it up.
We have this my Turku things quite a lot in here.
Right?
so
My Turku, my
that
Business
would
Turku.
fit as well.
Yeah, but
Kiss my Business Turku.
Kiss my business Turku. Goodbye. But this was beautiful, Arto. Thank you so much. And thank you for being very open and also for telling the people, telling the audience that you are actually very approachable. You're not just like these people behind this ivory tower, but actually you're there and you're helping people and you're connecting them as well and helping them get the funding, helping them with the mindset, when to look for what. So this has been a super valuable conversation, even for me.
All right.
I think I'll be dropping you an email after this conversation.
Yeah. I think we should meet again and have a lunch and talk about business.
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, Arto.
Thanks for interviewing me.
My pleasure.
Every great innovation starts with a eureka moment, but turning that spark into something real takes much more. That's why we help build From Ideas to Innovations, a course for people who want to do something with their spark. It breaks down exactly what stands between an idea and reality, the IP, the funding, the right people, the market fit. And through the series, you'll hear the stories behind those innovations, real conversations brought to life with the support of our partners, Varha, the University of Turku, and Åbo Academy University. Subscribe to our series and check out the course link in the description below.